Have you ever wondered how login with a Google, login with a Facebook, or login with any social media provider works? So in this video, let's explore all these things end to end, how we can implement this whole OAuth flow with the NestJS code. Sign in with Google, that button that increased the conversion by 15%, because when we see any product where we need to log in, if I see login with Google, I will actually log in. But if I don't see those buttons, I may just skip that particular product. But how do we actually implement this kind of thing in the NestJS? Auth can feel complicated with redirect, callback, and token, but I will try to simplify it, how you can log in, how you can implement login with the Google using auth flow in your NestJS application with the Passport. We will go from zero to hero with a working login with the Google button. So what we are going to do here is, before we write code, let's understand what happens when user click on to the login screen. The NestJS redirect to the Google present you with your account options. Passport redirect you to the Google.auth with the client ID. Your user authenticate, okay, which account, username, password, if you already has an account. Google redirect back with the code. We do the code exchange, and then we get an access token, using which we are able to access our APIs. So this is the kind of flow which we are going to do. And for this, on the Google Developer Console, we need to have a client ID, secret, and a callback, right? So we will just create a simple project on the Google Developer Console. We will enable auth. We will create a auth, client ID, and client secret. We will register a callback URL and a redirect URI. These are the few things which we need to configure on the Google Developer Console. We need a client ID, client secret, and callback URL. Those things we are going to configure on our NestJS application. So this is the simple auth flow. What we does is, user clicks on to the login screen. User hits this API. Front end hits this API auth Google, and that will take us to the redirect to the login with the Google. You will see the login with the Google screen. You enter username, password, and if your account details are correct, user authenticated with the Google, and then we will get redirected to the auth Google callback, which we have configured on the Google Developer Console with the code. So NestJS exchange the code for user data. And when we send the code to the Google, it gives us the JWT token back. And then token is returned and we are logged in successfully. So let's talk about the practical implementation, what all things you need to do. So the first thing, let's say I'm a developer. First, I will go to this Google Developer Console. This is the first thing I will do is, and I will register my application. Let's say my application is, this is my application name, and I'm a developer. I will go to the Google Developer Console, and what I will do first thing is, I will register my application there. When you register, you will get a client ID, client secret, and you also need to specify callback URL and on which port, the domain where you will be running your application, either localhost for testing or the domain. Why we need that? Because we are building a Notion app. We want user to, and on this application you will provide one button, login with the Google. Right? So what happens? Why we need all this information? Because we want to enable the Google sign-in with our application. Otherwise, how Google will identify that, okay, when you click on to this login with Google, I need to present a login screen. I need to create an application on Google Developer Console, right? That application Google will give us the client ID, which I need to configure in the client app, client ID, client secret, callback URL. Because once the Google says, okay, I have validated the user and I have the authorization code, I need to go to the client app. So for that, I need to provide a callback URL and the domain using which I will be testing or deploying this application, because then Google will allow for this client ID for that domain only. Nobody can just use a random domain to use this client ID. Okay, client secret we will keep secret, and the callback URL we will specify. Okay, once you have done authenticated, redirect to this URL so that my client or my server can access that code and can return an access token, can get an access token. So these are the important things which we need to perform as a step 1. Go to the developer console, register your application, get client ID, client secret, registered a callback URL, registered a allowed logout URL, allowed domains, all these things. Then you will write your code and put the client ID, client secret in your code so that when user clicks on to the login with the Google, we are able to communicate to the authorization server, which is a Google, which can be a Google GitHub based on where you have created your application. So that is a step 1. Let's take a look onto that. Okay, so you can go to the Google Developer Console inside this API services and credentials. So inside credentials, we can create a auth client ID. What we are doing, we are kind of creating a web app, right? Just create a, let's say web app name is KTS Sharma V2 2025. Okay, so here we need to add the authorized URI, JavaScript origin. I will just add a local host for now, and authorization redirect URI. Contain a domain, and here URI HTTP localhost, because we are going to test this application. I think it should be auth Google callback. I will check. I mean, for now I'm just registering one application. So here it gives me client secret and client ID, right? I will just copy them and I will start using them. So this is the step 1. You should go to the Google Developer Console, create an application. Now we need to configure this application in our Node.js backend, Express app and the NestJS application, so that we can allow app users, because this is the app we are creating, TKS V2 2025, so that this app can allow users to log in with the Google, Facebook, Twitter, all these things. Hi everyone, so our plan is to build a simple auth using Express.js, and we are going to use social authentication with Google, right? So what we are going to do, the first step is go to the Google Developer Console, create a simple application, web app, and get the access key and the secret ID, right? So that is the step 1. Go to the Developer Console and register your application, either web or mobile app, and get the access token and secret token from there. So this is what I did. Google Developer Console, and here you just go to API services credentials and create a auth2 client ID. App type is web. Add an authorized redirect URI. So it can be like if your application is running on localhost 3000, the redirect URI will be auth Google callback. And inside the env, because you just need to specify client ID, client secret, and redirect URI or auth secret, because we are going to build an Express app, right? Express app will allow user to log in with the Google. So all these things we need to configure on our application. So here I am already on that prompt. If you can see here, I added I'm like registering a new application. So I will get a client ID and a client secret. Here you can see there are two things: authorized JavaScript origins, localhost 3000, authorized redirect URI, which is auth Google callback, and I will get a client ID. I mean, you can copy the client ID and you can copy the client secret. Client ID and client secret, these are the two things we need, right? Now we just need to bootstrap our Express app. So the step 1 is done. I mean, what we are going to do, we are going to provide a login with the Google button. Once user logs in, I mean, user enter your application, user will be presented with the login with the Google button. For that, we went to the Google Developer Console, the developer, he got the client ID, client secret, and registered a callback URL and the domain and a host. So let's try to write the simple application. What all modules we need? We need Express, Passport for serializing and deserializing a user session, Express session to persist the session in memory, and Passport uses the different strategy. Here we are talking about the Express app, not NestJS application. So here we need to add these modules: Passport Google Auth 2.0 strategy and .env to populate the values from the env to process.env. We initialize the Express app, and here we are specifying the session because we are maintaining a session, because it's just a small demo. So let's set up a session Here we are initializing the passport.initialize passport.session, because passport will manage the session. And here we are registering a Google strategy. We are passing client ID, client secret, and the callback URL. So either you are passing from the clients from the process.env, or I also hard coded them here, callback URL. And once you log in successfully, because this is the auth flow, what it will do, you will see a login button, you click onto it, you will be presented with the login screen, Google account login screen. Then you will give a consent. When you say yes, Google will redirect us to the callback URL with the auth code. We will exchange the access token, auth code, and get the access token in exchange of that. So this is where you will get a profile. You can persist it in the database. It's just a simple sample demo. Here we are doing serialize user and deserialize, how to extract the user from the session or save the user into the session. So these are the simple routes which will provide us, okay, response.send auth login, a simple HTML page. When you click on to auth login, it will take us to the Google auth login page, passport.authenticate using Google strategy. And then once you have given a consent, we will be redirected back to the callback page, passport.authenticate callback page. There we will get exchange token, and then we will redirect you to the profile page if we got everything is right. In the profile page, we are checking if request is authenticated. Is not authenticated, redirect you to the login page, maybe the home page. Otherwise, I will show you your username. Very basic thing. Now it's just a logout. Logout will just take you to the request.logout. Will just set is authenticated false. This is what request.logout will do. And it will redirect you to the home page. Now we can start the server app.listen 3000, and we will just do node app.js. So express session, passport, these are the different modules we are just using here. Now when I run this application, localhost 3000, this is the welcome page I see. I will click on to the login with the Google page. Yes, login with Google, I click on it. It will take me to the auth screen, where I will give consent. Okay, I'm logged in, right? I mean, I already give consent, so it didn't ask. You can try another Google account, and then it will ask for the consent. You can see continue. So what happens in this whole auth flow? I hit auth login route. It takes me to the Google strategy. I mean, the Google is the authorization server. It presented me the login screen. I entered, because it's a Google account, I already have logged in. So it asks me the consent. I give yes. It redirected to the callback where we did a code exchange, and then I redirected to the profile page where I'm showing you the username, code with TK Sharma. This is my Google profile username. So this is the end-to-end auth flow. This is how these things are connected with each other. If you want to try to log your user request.user object, this is what we are getting from the Google. Display name, email, photos, because this is the defined scope. Google is not sharing the password with this application, but allowing apps to access the information which is already on the Google server, like my display name, emails, photos. With this information, I can create user in my own app database, because we are not storing password. Password is not even provided to us. I submitted password to the Google, and Google is sharing this information with this application, so that I can create account and let user log into the application and see the data through the APIs. Now I can have some protected APIs which will be accessible to me because I'm already logged in. My session exists in the Express, in the Passport.